berpanjangan sekian lama atau selepas 6 bulan, maka ia akan memberi kesan kepada ekonomi. Indikator-indikator yang menjadi tumpuan kita, job creation, penciptaan tenaga kerja, KDNK-nya, tapi dia mengambil masa lah. Kita tak jangka masa pendek terlalu awal untuk kita katakan turun naik besar ini boleh mempengaruhi ekonomi semasa.
Pada Isnin, Bank Negara Malaysia menyatakan ia memantau rapat perkembangan pasaran kewangan. Dalam satu keterangan, Bank Negara menambah pergerakan ringgit akan terus ditentukan oleh pasaran. Dalam masa yang sama, ia akan memastikan kecairan yang mencukupi dan keadaan pasarannya teratur. Dalam dagangan pada Isnin, ringgit menurun kepada sekitar 4.2271 ringgit kepada $1. Faktor ini disumbang selain faktor politik, penularan COVID-19 dan harga minyak yang didagangkan rendah pada Isnin. Sementara itu, menurut laporan The Age yang memetik laporan Hong Leong Investment Bank Research, antara polisi yang berdepan risiko ketika ini termasuk perubahan mekanisme subsidi petrol dan pakej rangsangan ekonomi. Dalam masa yang sama, Hong Leong Investment Bank Research menjangka kadar inflasi yang disasarkan pada 2% tahun ini akan dikurangkan kepada 1.7% jika pelaksanaan subsidi petrol ditangguh kepada pertengahan tahun. Untuk rekod, pakej rangsangan ekonomi dijadual diumumkan pada 27 Februari ini. Pakej rangsangan ini adalah untuk memastikan ekonomi negara dapat ditampan daripada kesan penularan COVID-19. Pada malam Isnin, bekas Menteri Hal Ehwal Ekonomi Datuk Seri Azmin Ali menyatakan dalam keterangan di Facebook bahawa kami petik langkah yang kami Datuk Seri Azmin dan 10 yang lain lakukan adalah untuk menjamin keyakinan rakyat dan masyarakat pelabur terhadap kestabilan dan kelangsungan dasar-dasar kerajaan yang bertujuan untuk meningkat tahap sosioekonomi rakyat seperti yang terkandung Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama 2030. Dalam kenyataan yang sama dan kami petik, kami, Datuk Seri Azmin dan 10 yang lain telah mengambil langkah proaktif untuk menggagalkan konspirasi untuk menjatuhkan Perdana Menteri di tengah-tengah penggal. Sekitar jam 9 malam Isnin, Ketua Setiausaha Negara mengumumkan yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah berkenan membatalkan pelantikan menteri-menteri atas nasihat Perdana Menteri. Yang di-Pertuan Agong juga berkenan melantik Tun Dr. Mahathir sebagai Perdana Menteri interim.
Kalau disebut sebagai lantikan kepada Perdana Menteri, seorang itu yang juga ahli Dewan Rakyat, maka akan dilantik dan maka lantikan itu adalah lantikan di bawah perkara 43, iaitu lantikan sebagai Perdana Menteri. Jadi kalau tujuannya ialah untuk melantik secara interim, maksudnya masa akan datang akan dilantik Perdana Menteri yang tetap, ya. Namun saya tidak melihat lantikan Perdana Menteri interim itu satu yang diperuntukkan dalam perlembagaan. Apa yang ada ialah perkara 43 lantikan Perdana Menteri. Jadi maknanya kalau Tun Mahathir dilantik sebagai Perdana Menteri interim, maka kalau ikut ruang lingkup ataupun perlembagaan itu sendiri, maka Tun Mahathir itu boleh menjalankan kuasanya sebagai Perdana Menteri. Tidak kira lah disebut sebagai Perdana Menteri interim atau Perdana Menteri dalam bentuk yang lain.
Sehingga lewat tengah malam, Majlis Pimpinan Tertinggi Bersatu sebulat suara menolak surat peletakan jawatan Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad sebagai pengerusi parti. Kenyataan tersebut dikeluarkan Setiausaha Agong Bersatu Datuk Marzuki Yahya. Tambahnya, Majlis Pimpinan Tertinggi Bersatu akan terus sokong Tun M sebagai Perdana Menteri.
Dan bertemu kembali adalah untuk melihat kepada bagaimanakah kesan perkembangan politik pada ketika ini kepada ekonomi dan juga kepada pasaran. Adakah ia bersifat sementara ataupun bersifat jangka panjang? Kita bersama dengan Shan Said, Ketua Pakar Ekonomi IQI JUI. Shan, yesterday you mentioned that it's premature to say what is going to happen or the outcome, the economic outcome would be in the next 24 to 72 hours. Maybe you can share with us the reason behind this comment.
The government is fully aware that they cannot prolong this political uncertainty. As you know, political uncertainty has a huge drag on the economy, and the economic cost is very high. At the start of the government, since last year, the budget was totally, focused on delivering economic outcomes. So my comment is totally in line what the government is thinking, that we have to come out of this political instability so that the normalcy returns and the economy continues to function, and there is a political and policy certainty for the market.
And investors are also a bit cautious right now. We saw Wall Street or Dow Jones went down by 1,000 points earlier this morning. Surely they will also take into consideration all these external factors when they look at the market. How cautious would the investors be right now?
I think investors, not only local but global investors, are all cautious, and they expect that the government will come out of this very soon, and the government will continue to function, and economic consistency will return to the market very soon.
And what do you foresee will happen in the next 24 to 48 hours or before the end of the week? Do you think there is this normalcy that you mentioned earlier? Because I think we're all waiting for the stimulus plan to be scheduled to be announced on the 27th of February. Do you think there's normalcy moving forward with regards to policies and also with regards to sentiments and stability?
Yes, normalcy will return, and there will be premature to say, but the stimulus package may not be announced this week, but next week certainly, because the government still has room in the fiscal space. The Bank Negara still has room in the monetary space. So monetary policy and fiscal policy, they have taken central roles, not only for Malaysia, but many economies. So it's all about monetary policy and fiscal policy. And at the moment, the government still has quite space to pursue expansionary fiscal policy in the short run, and then return to monetary policy, because it is always the monetary policy that drives the economy. So I expect normalcy to return in the next 24 to 72 hours, and then it will be business as usual.
So you're very confident when you say the next 24 to 72 hours that things will return to normal. What could be the reason, the rationale behind this?
I think the market is looking to Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has been the key factor for Malaysia, and it is always the macroeconomic stability that drives the economy. So as global investors at IQI, we strongly believe that macroeconomic stability would return to Malaysia within this week.
Thank you very much, Shan. Saya Ketua Pakar Ekonomi IQI JUI membincangkan berkenaan dengan kesan kepada ekonomi dan juga kesan kepada pasaran, sama ada ia sementara ataupun tidak. Dan bersama saya di studio pada ketika ini untuk membincangkan berkenaan dengan sisi yang sama, namun perbincangan yang lebih besar skopnya adalah Wong Wai Ken, Pengurus Negara Malaysia untuk Stashaway. Wai Ken mempunyai 10 tahun pengalaman dalam pelaburan dan juga pasaran equity. Wai Ken, I think first of all, let's look at the pending announcement, the stimulus plan or stimulus package before the schedule to be announced on the 27th of February. We're still waiting for how Bursa Malaysia is reacting to what happened in Wall Street. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the stimulus plan 27 February, 12 Malaysia plan. These are all expected to be announced this year. What do you make of this? Pending this announcement, because we know that there are things brewing in the political scene right now, but this could be delayed. The announcements could be delayed. What do you make of that?
Yeah, morning Rizal. These are very interesting times. And obviously when you have all these stimulus packages and budgets planned for the rest of the year, it's really contingent upon who we see as the next decision maker, right? Who will replace or succeed the PM, or if he retains his position. Obviously then the cabinet will be reformed, and this new minister will determine the new packages. So the timing of all this is also quite unfortunate, because Malaysia is also going through a lot of headwinds. The coronavirus is really hitting our exports in terms of China consumption, and the slide in oil prices is really not helping us get that revenue. We are also seeing tourism numbers from China down, so our coffers are running dry. So this doesn't help the confidence in the local market, which is why yesterday we saw this huge drop of 2.7% on the local market, which means that Bursa Malaysia is officially in bear territory. We saw the market at a high at April 2018, right? We're down 20+% since then. So from a foreign investor's perspective, what they want is certainty in terms of policy. And I think even domestic investors are still waiting to see what will happen to all this political uncertainty, because that will determine the economic stimulus and the economic policies going forward.
But you mentioned the timing is very important, and you mentioned that currently there are all these external factors affecting investor sentiments. Timing, how soon or what is the maximum the investors can wait? Because I think it's crucial to see what will happen in the next 48, 72 hours. The stimulus package was scheduled to be announced on the 27th of February. That is just 2 days away. The delay or how much delay can we afford? How soon does it have to be announced?
So I think that's why as an investor you should really have a long-term view. Last time I was on the show, we talked about trade wars, and then after that, a few segments later, we were talking about the virus. And now, very, very local situation in Malaysia, we're talking about political transition or political upheaval. So you can see these differing shocks will really affect the investor, whether it's a sophisticated investor or a fund or individual investor. So this is a situation where a long-term view really helps. Having a diversified portfolio of different equities, different bonds, precious metals will help you ride through these storms. If you're a short-term trader, it's very hard to predict these situations, and if you're right, great. If you're wrong, you're done. Right? So
how long is this long-term window that investors should let themselves be in the market? Because I think right now there's a lot of uncertainties. So long-term, probably when it's good, it's probably 1 or 2 years. But this long-term, how long is long-term when it comes to situations like this?
Time is relative, right? So it really depends on the investor. So it depends on how much risk you need to take and how long you have to invest. The EPF, for example, has a has a very long-term view. The EPF has to manage funds for our retirement, and we're not retiring anytime soon. So their investment period is looking at 20, 30 years, which is why they can't take excessive risk and look at short-term movements like this. They have to really look at their portfolio and have it be balanced. But if you're an individual investor who has short-term goals, that might change, right? So that's why it's really important to define your risk up front. If you have a very short term to invest, don't take the risky option. If you are a long-term investor like the EPF, you really need to take that long view, and you really need to have a diversified portfolio with a solid asset allocation.
But investors cannot help but be human as well, because I think they are also affected by the news and by the unfolding happenings on an hourly basis. And I think what we saw yesterday when it opened I think down about 2%, about 3%, and now when it closed it was down about 2.7%. Let's also look at investors consuming news in a 24-hour news cycle, and how that is affecting this whole goal for a long term, and they are also risk of, I'm sure to a certain extent, they have their own risk profile. What do you make of the current news cycle, the investor sentiment, and the environment that we live in right now? Can they afford to go long term?
So panicking is the worst thing you can do in this situation, right? You have to ask yourself in a market sell down like this, do you really need the money right now? Do you need to liquidate your portfolio? Right, so that's why it's important to determine your investment framework and time frame up front, right? So we hear sensationalist news all the time, right? The market reports events, the companies have surprises. Countries like ours go through surprises from time to time. So because we are emotional people, we need to have that investment discipline in place. In Malaysia, we're all very hopeful about a future that is bright for our families and our kids. But hope is not an investment strategy. You cannot just hope that things will get better automatically. You need an investment strategy to bring you through the tough times and in the long run.
And it's also very costly, I guess, during times like this, because you have to constantly change your strategy, and you also have to constantly use resources that will probably be best allocated somewhere else to focus on your if you are an active investor, I guess, on your investment. Don't you think so?
That's why I think that people set up good personal finance habits, right? Before you even start investing, you should have 6 months in cash and an additional 6 months in liquid assets that you can sell in terms of an emergency. But that's why you need a plan beyond for that. If you have an investment that is something that you can afford to put aside, that's the best, because you don't want to be in a desperate position where you need to liquidate your portfolio, and one bad headline, 2 bad headlines, and then you're out of the investment game.
Okay. Let's take a short break. When we come back, let's talk about the keyword, the buzzword is interim right now. What do you think people are expecting to see when it comes to an interim period? And how can, because you say about headlines, you say about information, how can information and headlines be managed better by the policymakers to ensure that whatever that is pending can be managed well, managing expectations in the market and also by of the businesses in Malaysia. Kita akan berehat seketika. Namun sebelum kita berehat, mari kita lihat kepada angka Bursa Malaysia pada ketika ini, pada pembukaan Bursa Malaysia pada pagi tadi. Bursa Malaysia jatuh sekitar 7 mata kepada 1,482 mata di situ. Saya akan bawakan perkembangan lanjut. Saya akan cuba besarkan angka di sini, iaitu itu adalah pembukaan Bursa Malaysia pada pagi ini, jatuh 7.34 mata, 1,482, dan kami akan terus jejaki perkembangan Bursa Malaysia dalam jam-jam dan juga perkembangan akan datang. Teruskan bersama kami. Saya akan berehat seketika, kembali selepas ini. Bertemu kembali, kita bersama dengan Wong Wai Ken, pengurus negara Malaysia untuk Stashaway. Wong, Wai Ken, I think let's look at the opening, Bursa Malaysia opening, down 7.34 points as opposed to what happened in Wall Street. It went down, I think, as much as 800 points when it was opened yesterday, and it was closed at down 1,000 points. But I think this is not too bad, I think.
Yeah. So I think this is a good sign. This is a good sign that there's no more panic selling. I think the market is waiting to see when the party coalition is going to get together to determine the leadership position. I think all the selling was happening yesterday. All the speculation and panic selling was happening yesterday. So I think it's a good start. No one is really pushing the panic button yet. So we'll see.
We also, I think the buzzword for today is interim. What do you think will happen during this period? Because I think people are looking for stability, certainty, policy, stimulus, confidence. I think these are also some of the keywords as well. What do you think, and how do you think information can be managed properly today, looking at what happened yesterday as it was unfolding on the hourly basis?
Yeah, so obviously the political elite needs to really get their messaging correct, and that can only be done once we determine who the successor for the Prime Minister will be. So, but for investors and individual investors as well, I think what they really have to do is not be political analysts. They can observe the political situation, but we are not policymakers. We're not policy academics. So, if you focus on your investment mandate, your investment goal, I think the one key thing you can do right now is to actually slowly look at moving investments overseas. If you look at how the EPF has achieved a commendable return of 5.45% over last year, it's because they invested 30% of their money overseas. They diversified overseas. So what investors can really do is also do the same. You can do it gradually, because a lot of our money will be in EPF. A lot of our money will be in ASB. That's a lot of ringgit holdings. And if you see the ringgit weaken, if you see the local market down, down 7 years out of the last 8 years, then it's really disheartening if all your money is in Malaysia. So slowly started looking at ways to diversify overseas, but not in just one asset class. We look at bonds and equities and gold, REITs and things like that.
Let's look at businesses. I think they have to also plan long term, and they also have to look into whether this would be the right period to make investments or to expand. Looking at how things are right now, what do you think would be on their mind right now? Would they probably wait it out until after the stimulus package is announced, 12 Malaysia plan, because this is the year for plans and packages to be are expected to be announced, and you know, you've got the shared prosperity, you're tracking budget 2020. These are all in their mind when it comes to planning for long term. How do you think they're taking this development in the first quarter when we have the COVID-19 also in the air somewhere, affecting their sentiments when it comes to planning for their businesses?
Yeah, so obviously not all businesses are the same, right? Different businesses will have different needs. Some businesses will need government assistance. Some will enjoy this period because I think it's time to have some opportunity. By opportunity, I mean that your weaker competitors in the local market will be suffering, so you can look at some consolidation plays maybe. But this is where companies with overseas presence, regional presence will do particularly well, because not all of your business comes from Malaysia. While you are a local business waiting for stimulus packages or budgets to be announced.
Or waiting for stability and direction.
Correct.
Okay.
But you also have to be self-sustainable. Your business has to be run on a fundamentally sound basis. You can't just wait for the government to hand you out, you know, contracts and things like this. And this applies to individuals like you and me. We have to be self-sustaining. You can't always look at the government for assistance, you know. Having a 6% plus EPF return or ASB return of 6% plus is not an entitlement, so to speak. You really need to look after your own portfolio, your own prosperity, and be self-sufficient. So, you know, take matters into your own hands.
Okay, and I think, do we expect more better keywords as we move into the next 24, 72 hours? What do you think? Because I think people are looking for, I think, stability, certainty, policies. I think these are the keywords that we've been seeing yesterday, because I think people are questioning whether there is that in the market right now. Do you think things will probably become better with the sentiments in the market, in the businesses?
Yeah, that really depends, right? I think you can flip a coin to see what will happen tonight in terms of the contention for the leadership position, the Prime Minister position. So a lot of it will ride on that evolving, fluid situation. So I think, you know, instead of panicking, people should really look at their own financial situation before reacting. You know, certainty is something that markets need, and if you're looking at investor perception towards Malaysia, I think it's really taken.
And I guess the leaders also have a responsibility to also maintain a good image, especially in times like this.
Of course.
Thank you very much, Wang Waiken, Pengurus Negara Malaysia Stashaway, membincangkan berkenaan dengan situasi interim dan juga apa dijangkakan daripada pasaran dan juga daripada pemimpin di luar sana untuk membuat keputusan berkenaan dengan plan rangsangan ekonomi. Sebelum kita berhenti di sini, saya ingin bawakan juga visual di sini berkenaan dengan FBM KLCI bukan meningkat, namun kerugian tersebut dikurangkan kepada hanya negatif 0.62 mata kepada 1,489. Bursa ditutup pada sekitar 1,490 mata. Ini mungkin sedikit positif daripada apa yang dialami oleh pasaran seperti di Jepun yang jatuh sekitar 700-800 mata pada ketika pembukaan pagi tadi. Dan kami akan bawakan perkembangan ini dan juga perkembangan lain berkenaan dengan krisis ataupun drama politik di Malaysia pada hari ini dalam jam-jam akan datang. Teruskan bersama kami untuk perkembangan dalam astroawani.com serta di saluran 501. Saya Rizal Zulkapli. Salam hormat.